Not old enough.
Usually we don't get presentations.
I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum present. The meeting has been duly called. Appropriate notice has been given. I'd like to welcome everybody here. I'd especially like to welcome our 3 new board members. This is their first official meeting, so Brad, Marcia, Tommy. And I did ask if our bomb squad would like to lead us in the pledge tonight. So if we could stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. We got our robotics team is here to present. Mr. Bergenstock, you want to kick this off?
Yes, sir. Hey, my name's J.R. Bergenstock, and Bradford Young is here with me. He works with us. A couple of our mentors are here this evening. This is the majority of our team from this year. A bunch of our seniors came back and they brought our robot. I don't want to talk too much. Listen, they'll tell you more about the robot because I'll get stuff wrong. These guys worked really hard this year. Our main season goes from the first Saturday in January, and we wrapped it up in April when we went to the Einstein round with the World Championships in Houston. Out of about, I think the number was 3,690 teams this year, we were in the top 5 alliances in the world, the teams, and by what I say the world, believe it or not, they really, at Worlds there were 23 countries represented. There's teams from 23 different countries around the world represented there. And the way this works is the first Saturday in January, they release the game worldwide, and we find out what the game is, and we get 6 weeks to build this robot, and to help some engineers from Baxter and Banton, and Derek Williams, and he works for 8-Ball and a couple other guys. We designed this robot, the kids designed this robot, build it and make it work. We've been running around in here a little bit today. I told them it'd be nice. It's hard on carpet, it's hard on ceiling tiles. It weighs about 140 pounds. It'll travel about 18 feet per second. It's got what's called swerve drive, so it'll spin. It's got an elevator on it that reaches up 9 feet tall. It'll go through the ceiling if we run it all the way up. It picks up algae, which is a 16-inch kickball. Marcus will show us one of those. And then the coral piece was a piece of 4-inch PVC pipe, 12 inches long. We played in a match that 15 seconds autonomous and 2 minutes and 30 seconds where they drive it like a big fancy remote control car. It takes 2 kids to run this robot. We play it in a 3-on-3 tournament style. There's 3 robots versus 3 robots, and it's about cooperation and working together. When we go to a tournament, the first rounds are randomized. So you play all day with everybody else in qualification rounds, and you gain ranking point by different skills that you can do with the robot. And then at the end of the day, you pick alliances. And so we went to two regional tournaments this year. We placed 9th or 7th or 8th in one in Arkansas. And there were 9 teams from Arkansas that qualified to go to the World Championships. We went to the Bayou Regional. There were 40 teams there, 40 plus teams there. We were the 2nd place team. We got picked by the 1st place alliance, and we won that tournament. That qualified us for Worlds. And then the Worlds, there were close to 600 teams there. They were divided among 8 fields, 8 different fields, 75 teams per field. We were in the Galileo division, and we ended up getting picked by the 1st place alliance as a 2nd robot, and we were able to win that division. We went on to finish 5th place in the Einstein Championship. So I was really proud of them this year, and I was proud of the robot. I will shut up. That's my part of what I know. I kind of hang out with these guys, but I'll let these guys talk. So if y'all want to show them the robot, tell them a little bit, I'll let y'all talk.
So like Mr. B was saying, we make this robot and we drive it here. So over here we have Josh Dickinson driving it and Sam Coolman operating it. So we're going to kind of go over the most basic things that we have. And Martin, you want to go? So this is our human player. On the field, we have our 2 drivers, our operator, and then a human player. They're physically really close to the field, and they'll be given the game pieces in. So Josh, you want to go and get started?
Hey, we're going to swap a battery real quick.
All the lights drained to death. But they look really cool.
And one of the cool things is you'll notice they operate the LEDs. Not only for looks, they're also operational. They'll tell what the robot does. When it collects a piece, you'll notice it'll flash with a lightning bolt. That's to let the operator know that the robot has that piece. It'll show the levels that the elevator's going up to. So there's a lot of diagnostic pieces to that those LED lights are actually showing. So it's not just for flashy looks.
So you said you have 6 weeks from the reveal till I guess, you still ship the robot out to the first event, or how does?
Thankfully, we don't have to tag and tag it.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So technically we get 6 weeks, but our first competition was a week 2 event, so we had a couple more weeks. We're about 8 weeks, I guess, all together is what.
Okay.
But technically, the competition starts after 6 weeks. And you get 6 weeks to build a robot, then after that, the competition starts. The later you compete, the better the other robots get. So a lot of teams like to try to get a win really quick, so we try to go to week 2 events so we get a win.
So are you allowed to do some tweaking through the?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. This is not the, this
You
is
can do
not
whatever you
exactly.
want now. There's no bag and tag, like.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't know what we're talking about before, you used to have to, you had to take a picture of the clock with your robot bagged up and taped so that you could not touch it another time after that 6 weeks. And that was a really stressful time, and trying to make that time was really, really difficult. And so then, if you had changes you wanted to make, you had to make it to a spare robot, and then try to implement those at the
At the
competition,
event,
which
okay.
was very little time.
Yeah.
There are several things that we updated from the first time we competed, and we found stuff didn't work. Our climber went through about 12 iterations. But it works well.
Mason, you know what awards we won at the regionals?
I believe at the Arkansas Regional, we won the
Innovation, industrial design.
industrial design, yeah. Which is for teams that, it's mainly just to show how strong your robot is at the competition and how industrial it can be. At the Bayou Regional, we got the Autonomous Award, which during the autonomous period will, the robot will drive itself, no human contact for it. And we were the best with our autonomous. I believe, only had one match where we missed our shots. And so that got us that award. And then at Worlds, we won the Galway division, so.
So this is our game piece, and Mark's gonna go over there. Okay. So now, if you want to imagine, there's a thing, it's called a reef, because this game's water themed this year. And imagine a big tree that has these pegs sticking up. So what this is going to do is, go ahead, drive it up. So it would go up to one, and it would drop it onside a peg, and it would score a point, and he'd go back to the human part. The second way to score was picking up these balls called algae. Now, the net for this is taller than our ceiling, so yeah, we'll go halfway. And you put it in a net at the ceiling, giving you 1 point. So it's 3 teams versus 3 teams running that back and forth as fast as they can. There's also the, you just want to move that hanger, Josh? There you go. So this right here has enough power to lift the whole robot off for the end of the match. There's a winch on the end of it that holds it still like that so it can't move down. And then that's how the final position would be. Our LEDs have started an in-game timer for our drive team to see to start to hang. And those are all the core mechanics of this bot. So you just imagine doing that a lot, very fast, in a very stressful campaign.
What's that light? The white light.
There you go.
So that light, similar to the LEDs, telling us that the robot is enabled. So there's 2 stages the robot can be in, enabled and disabled. Disabled means that we can work on the robot, it's safe to touch, won't do anything, move the joysticks, won't move. Enabled means that it's able to move and be controlled by anything. So the light is just a safety feature for not only the students that work on it in the pits, but also the field crew, so they can see that the robot is on and is drivable. And then it also ties in with the LEDs doing the same thing. So the LEDs will have a certain pattern for when we're enabled and disabled. Enabled is the rainfall on the ocean, and disabled will be the fishes just swimming around by the reef.
What about that big white light that looks like the iron?
That is to help us see, so we actually have a vision system on our robot that can not only detect what we call April tags or QR codes that we can read on the field and know our positions, but we can also, using AI, detect any algae that's in front of us, so we can grab it while we're really far away.
So it's tracing this ball. It's not tracing me. It's just tracing the ball. You want to try to pick it up?
And then one thing, also, you can't really see, but our driver and operator have the camera view. So, the barriers in the middle of the field, it's hard to see on the other side. So we have camera views for them so they can see where they're going and see what they're picking up. So.
Bill, do you want to talk about telemetry on the field?
The telemetry? Right, so with all the April tags that are all over the field, we use the line lights here in the front of the robot to be able to see different locations in the field. So you know where every one of these different April tags are gonna be on the field every time. So we tell the robots to adjust its position and where it thinks it is on the field based on these different QR codes, April tags. So using the line lights here, which we have two of, one on top of our elevator and one underneath it. Hiding down here. So that way then, even if our shooter is in the way or if it's up in the air, we can still see any of these April tags anywhere. We use that data for this and as well as adjusting our gyroscope to align with the coral reef. So that way then we don't have to manually turn and line it up with that flat edge. We just automatically hook to it, line up, boom.
So our team is obviously, we're student-led. We have a team captain, robot captain, and our media lead. But after that, we also have our project leads. So that students will decide, after we do all of our strategy, we decide what we need, and the student will take that over and say, hey, I know what I want this to look like, and decide, I'm gonna put in the work in CAD, and I'm gonna put in the work of testing and prototyping to figure out how that is. Our climber was completely done by a student. He did not let another mentor touch that. And no other student wanted to help him. It was a huge problem, but he did a great job. We figured it out. Our LEDs were completely done by a student who he completely learned all of the coding of it this year. He saw two of our other students do it last year, but he had not touched it until this year. And we had our algae, what we picked that up with. After we came back from our first competition, we kind of decided this is not what we want it to be. So we completely changed it, tore it off, and fixed it, and that was completely done by a student. And all the building was done by students. We would have, we'd have the CAD and we'd look at it and we'd decide, just figure out what we needed to do. We had a huge help with machining. We did a ton of it in-house. You see all the holes that we have in our robot. That, we were about 20 pounds overweight 2 weeks before our first competition. So we took everything apart, drilled a bunch of holes on it, put it back on. But students did a lot of it, the work that we could.
So, I guess, are there any questions from anybody about certain things for the team or the robot?
What's the name of your robot?
The name of our robot is Albatross, after the bomber plane. Can't remember the full name now. Every year we name our robot after bomber planes, so we picked the Albatross this year.
Awesome.
There's obviously a lot of hardware design and build, as well as software design and build. Which was the most challenging, the hardware or software, or are the teams separate? You guys deal with the software, we'll deal with the hardware, and there's...
Most of our guys that are the coders and the programmers and everything, they look into the hardware and the software. But the biggest challenge is the programming side once we have this robot,
Yeah.
because we have to, we could draw it up, build it, but it wouldn't be able to do what it does without the
Right.
endless amount of
Brain
programming.
Yeah.
Well, at competitions, we see a lot of really good-looking robots you think would do really well, but they don't have programming to support it, so they just have a joystick. They're pushing buttons to decide where we're going. They don't have just buttons they can press, and it does everything on its own.
Yeah, I remember when we were down in Louisiana competing, there was a match before we went off, and I went up and I wanted to talk with our teammates, and I was asking them about their robot. And they talked about how they didn't have an autonomous at the beginning and how it wasn't working. And I thought, well, what do you guys code? And it was the same as ours, so I sent our coders over there. And just the fact of all that they had learned for a year on the team, or 2 years on the team was the other one, they were over there and able to give them an autonomous before our next match. That helped us win. So what we gain here not only helps us, but I mean, this is just helping everyone there. I mean, after that was out, people were coming up to us. You were able to get them you were able to do this for them, and I don't know, how long were you there, Colin? You were there for 10 minutes, and perfection. That was emulated as, wow, Bomb Squad, the home team, they're over there helping other people there. So that was a very big, proud accomplishment that we had.
And again, how long did it take you guys to build it, start to finish, and when did you find, what were the working times?
Maybe ask how many hours, not necessarily the times.
Yeah, how many total hours? So start to finish, build time.
Officially, we have that first 6 weeks to where we get competition ready. Then there's the week 0. We went to a scrimmage then, and then there's 6 weeks of competitions, and then a week break, and then Worlds. So we had it for, what does that make, 18 weeks?
Yeah.
So 18 weeks that we're working nonstop.
And you're fitting the coding and all of that, construction and all of that into that time period?
So typically we have the 6 weeks where we build it and then we present it at our award center. And so it can get tricky trying to get everything, like we work on it on the stage at the reveal and everything, trying to get it done. And then we present it and then we come back and then we just completely are wore out, but we still have to put all the time in.
So when you think about your future career, how is this gonna influence where you go after you leave Mountain Home High School? I mean, what are y'all dreaming about?
I'm going into mechanical engineering at the U of A.
I'll be working at Vantive as a maintenance technician or machinist, and be attending Arkansas State University Mountain Home for my certificate.
Fantastic.
Tell them the hours, that after-school hours that y'all work.
Yeah. How many hours do you guys have to put in order to travel with the team?
We require 100 hours to travel with the team. After the 6
Wow.
weeks, that's how far we track.
6 weeks.
Mason, how many hours did you have in 6 weeks?
I believe in 6 weeks I had put in about 300 hours.
So when you get out of school, you're doing this pretty much full-time, right, throughout until the competition's over with?
Because you had no time to get in trouble, so you can go straight to the workforce with a clean record.
We would
That's
have
great.
3 scheduled meetings a week, Mondays and Thursdays, 6:30 to whatever the. And then we'd have the Saturdays, there was 12:30 to whatever, and then.
The kids are up there every day, pretty much.
And where do you go to work on
It's right across from Pinkston. We have what's called the bomb shelter. So we
this?
do.
So this is not on the high school campus?
We do almost none of this at school or during school hours. All our mentors have jobs, regular jobs, and so a lot of times we pick 6:30 because that gives them time to get off at 5:30, go get something to eat, see their family, and then and they come, thankfully, like I said.
That's why we're a mentor, my kid is always having our greatest
The
teammates.
time is pretty impressive, but again, it means we have to start late, and then like I said, we're not on campus, there's not a lot we can do, because we've got a machine shop at our shelter, and so it's all after school, it's all very late hours, and it's a huge commitment, and like I said, we require 100 hours, and I would say this year we probably had 4 or 5 over 200.
Oh,
At least,
way more
and
than
then,
that.
and these are kids who work, we got a lot of kids who work full-time, and so they'll show up, they'll talk to us, and they won't show up till after work, so some of them get there 9:30 at night, and then we'll stay several hours, or Saturday, Sunday, whenever they've got time, they have to get bigger chunks of time that they can get there, and, it's a huge commitment. I mean, what these kids do is incredible.
So one of the metrics that I measure as successful on the team is we require, like we said, we require in the first 6 weeks, we require 100 hours of every student. We have 20 students at 2,000 man hours, required minimum. So we had several students here that reached over 200 hours just in those 6 weeks. Well, we're competing in a week 2 event, so there's an extra 2 or 3 weeks between when hours are due. So students are not required to log any more hours, but there's still work left to do. So even they've already put in that much time, and they're still coming in and logging hour after hour after hour, and we're having to kick them out of the shelter at night, right? We're like, guys, man, we gotta go home, you know? And these kids, they want more, and they are driven for excellence. Robots, when you go to competitions, guys, just so you have a scale, if you've never seen this before, robots don't look like this. They are not powder coated, they are not machined, they are not precision designed, they are not engineered, they don't have presets in auto. This is a machine in excellence, the bomb squad is. And that comes directly from students, when they come in, they work and work and work. They don't quit.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really great.
300 hours in 6 weeks, that's 50 hours a week. I hope you got overtime, but that's after school hours.
I mean, 0 times 2 is still 0.
So,
I was gonna say too, not only are they required to have the 100 hours, and they put them in, I think everybody here, everybody here was well over 100
yeah,
hours.
that's crazy.
Pretty early, well before the 6 weeks, like week 4 or whatever. But they also, it's required for good grades. You know, nobody travels if they, I mean, we require C's and above in every single class, not accumulative. Just to travel with the team, if they're part of the drive team, then we have higher standards. So it's not just, sometimes you will see them at the shelter, they're working, but they're also fitting in homework. We've got laptops going, we've got Chromebooks, you know, they are doing their own work too, so they're serious about both of it.
Sure.
That's good.
What happens to Albatross now?
Don't say that.
He comes to visit people.
Does he take a place of honor here in the school, or?
It'll probably just go into a corner of the bomb shelter. And maybe use as a practice spot
So
next
So,
year.
rob it for
actually-
parts next year.
A Hall of
Actually,
Fame?
in September, we are attending, September, October, it's called the Ozark Mountain Brawl, held in Searcy, Arkansas. It'll be its last competition it'll ever be at. And then typically, what we do with older robots is we either, one, keep it around until it eventually gets partless, or it stays in good condition and we store it. So we have robots from 10 years ago still stored.
Do they have all their parts?
We've talked about in the past, getting kids together and building a traveling case for them so that we could bring them places and set them up and put them on display and plug them into like a 110 plug where you could have the lights operate while it's sitting there.
Yeah.
I think they'd be really cool to have them sitting in schools, have one sitting over here. We just hadn't got around to building any cool cases yet to make it travel because they're really cool.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. It's
Yes. Do y'all want to show them the flag? We got one more cool thing we'll show y'all today that
Yeah.
we use.
Hopefully
Hopefully the battery's not dead.
I put it right there.
I know, this is one of the coolest things. I still don't think anybody's got one like this yet. So this is the only one at first. Y'all want to demonstrate this and have them help y'all with it?
Get a couple of y'all to hold hands and make sure you see the
Okay.
picture.
Yep. All right, so this flag, when you go to competitions, they'll announce your name and where you're from. But they also, in recent years, have started doing flags that they will wave up in the air just to show your logo, your school, whatever. So we, for the longest time, didn't have a flag for many years, and so a student a couple of years ago designed one for us, and it's been kept in good condition for those amount of years. But the cool thing about this flag is it's touch activated, so if I hold on to this part, or if I'm just holding on, or if I'm just holding on to the handle, nothing will happen, but when you touch them both, it will illuminate, and you can wave it around. And it's really cool because it stands out when we get announced. Not many, like they said, I don't think any other team has this currently, but you pretty much just complete the circuit from the handle to the rest of the flag. So the other cool thing that we like to showcase is if somebody holds it, and if we get a big line around, you get schoolwork, and we hold each other's hand.
We can have the
Hold on to that, Scott, see if it shocks you.
Go all the way around?
So, yeah.
Are we all holding
Yeah,
hands?
we're all holding
I
hands.
feel like when you start singing, everybody else.
Here you go, Barbara.
There, all right.
Uh-oh.
Ready?
Oh, there it goes. Cool. Fantastic.
Oh, look at
Oh, that's good.
That's how you get rid of school water.
Real quick before y'all leave, we want to hear y'all's names. Can y'all introduce yourselves by name? Let's start over this way. We'll go around.
I'm Drew Dickinson. This is my second year on the team, and I'm part of the media team.
I'm Colin. This is my first actual year of being on the team, and I do programming.
I'm Dylan Robinson, my first year, and I just basically did the handiwork as much as I possibly could.
I'm Dylan Abraham, and this is my third year on the team, and I'm in charge of the scouting and alliance selection.
I'm Martin Shepard, and this is my first year on the team, and I'm our team's team player. So, I'm Josh Dickinson, his twin. This is my third year on the team. This year I was the driver, and then I was the robot lead.
My name is Mason Rather. This is my third year on the team, and I was the team captain this year.
I'm Sam Coleman, and I was on the build team this year.
My name's Trinity Finner. This is my first official year on the team, and I was part of the media team this year.
And we are recruiting.
Yeah. Know anybody? Raise your hand if you're a senior. We're losing all these guys.
These people are going
Okay.
away.
How about our mentors and adults? Who do we have?
My name's Sheila Rather. I'm Mason's mom.
Okay.
I help with the media team. I'm a nurse by trade, so I just am there for cookies and.
I'm Paul Rather. I work for Vantive as a machinist, and I teach kids the machining side of things. So.
I'm Kristen Finner. My husband and I, Jeremy Finner, we're both mentors. This is our first year. Trinity Finner is our daughter.
Never would have guessed.
We just kind of do whatever we needed, so we don't have a specific role. At least nobody get a hint.
Bradford Young, co-faculty sponsor, Mr. Bergenstock. I would love to say I do something cool, but we kind of herd cats is what we do. And they just keep telling us we can't put googly eyes on the robot. So we make sure, like I said, Mr. Bergenstock does a ton of this. We make sure they got a place to stay, something to eat, and we're up there when they need us. And like I said, our mentors do a lot of the other work, because I just like to say we herd cats. So.
Derek Williamson, alumni 0345, and I've been mentoring since 2010. I'm a technical mentor on the team, and I handle mostly electronic stuff. So
Nice. Cool. Well, thank you all for sharing. It's been great. You guys are welcome to stick around for the rest of the meeting.
It's also Mason's birthday. Believe it or not, he is only 18, even though, as our favorite waiter put it a couple weeks ago, he is at least 30 with a mortgage and a 700 credit score.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Are you the Jennifer tonight? The new Jen?
Thank you so much. Okay, okay.
Not only did we sing happy birthday, yeah. We all putting our buttons on.
Thank you guys
That's
for
a
letting
good.
us come today.
My kids were in seventh grade.
Thank you for coming.
They did not rise up after that.
Thank you.
Let them clear out, and then we'll move on to our board action items. First item is parking lot maintenance tonight.
Give them a little bit, or just?
Yeah, you can give them a second. No, you're fine.
I'll do it pretty quick.
Looks like they've done that before.
Quick exit.
Like NASCAR.
Yeah.
So, back when I started around 2019, we were trying hard to get into a rotation of trying to maintain our parking lots, make them last as long as they could, try to save some money. We finally made it full circle. The junior high parking lots are back up and next. It normally costs a little bit more than the high school per square foot because that parking lot has low stripe on it because the band practices and this has the football field on it. So it has more labor involved in it. I think the last time we did it was about 29,000. So that wasn't too big of a deal for me. So I'm asking you all to approve that bid, $31,977, not including tax, to do all the maintenance on that parking lot for the summer.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the bid as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Looked like I see one bid on the bid sheet.
Yes.
How many bids did we give? Just the single bid?
We got one bid. In the time that I've done this, we worked with about 4 people. There are 2 that I would never like to work with ever again.
Okay.
One of them is farther out of town, did not want to do it. We got a 3rd bid that they did not hand it in time, so it cannot be opened according to our policies.
Do you remember some of the numbers on those bids that we were getting from the other ones?
I didn't even look at the one.
Okay.
And they said the other person was out of town, they didn't want to do it.
Okay.
So I brought this up again in the past, right? 7.7 says, purchases in an amount of 5,000 or more shall be made only after obtaining 3 quotes, right? And we talked to, ASBA, and we're right, and when we don't get 3 bids, as long as we're trying. Some spots we're in a food desert, and we can only get one vendor that can, quote milk, that's willing to bring in milk, et cetera. And so, okay, hey, we make exceptions, we're doing our due diligence, we're trying. There are multiple asphalt companies here. I know there's at least 3 in town. Even if we don't want to use one, I still think we should have 3 bids to meet our policy to say, hey, we're doing our diligence, we've got our bids. I recommend that we don't use this one because of this, but we still need to get our 3 bids, or else it even looks bad. You can go, well, why didn't he go he went to his friend and asked him to bid and then said, this policy's here for a reason, right? Why we should go get multiple bids instead of a single bid. So my recommendation is not even say, well, it didn't come in time, so we're not gonna look at it. Let's go get 3 bids, and then when we have 3 bids from 3 local folks, then we, take action on the bid or not. That's my.
I will tell you, if you set that precedent, you will, other than the Chromebook quote tonight, you will not be approving anything over 24 technology. That whole bidding process is completely different. We will not get vendors to bid on.
That's what we've talked about before, is when, or at least we're trying. I think, remind me, is that as long as we're trying to get the bids, if we don't get them, so be it. But at least if we're trying to go get the bids, trying to go get 3 bids. Not that, well, they're not gonna answer or they're not gonna want to.
So the second one, we did get a second.
Okay.
But it did not come in on time. So per policy, it's you know.
shall be made only after, so, I mean, it doesn't say as long as you get 3 by the deadline,
Well,
right?
the
This is,
bid request has a date. So that's why it wasn't
I understand,
opened.
that's why I said that, hey, the policy, once again, says only
There it is.
after we get the 3 bids, so.
I will add this, you said it was $29,000 6 years ago.
Like a little over
roughly.
high 28.
It's gonna be really tough to match that bid.
I
will say.
I also know who this is, and I don't expect to get it lower. And I remember back in 2019, the oil prices were crazy low. And that's why, you know, I was expecting it to be a lot more than this.
For a parking lot that size, I would agree. I mean, even if we do need 3 bids, I don't think any are gonna be lower than the current bid that we have.
And to be clear, I'm not saying it's not a good bid.
Yeah.
Right, I'm saying, hey, doing things correctly. Just having 1 bid on the bid sheet, I'm uncomfortable with that. Obviously, I may
What's
be a
the
minority.
policy about the lowest bid versus mid-range bid
Well, that's
versus
another
high bid?
problem.
That's the
If I bring
problem.
you in 2 other people that we would never use.
And they're low,
I've
then we
watched
have to use them.
an older, you know, a different board fight over that of, well, we have to take the lowest. Doesn't matter.
That's my biggest
This is what
concern. If
happened
you
with the
know they
track.
don't do good
With the
work.
track.
Yeah.
We lost, someone won by like $6,000.
I haven't seen anything in 7.5 that says we have to take the lowest bid, right? It talks about bid should be awarded after careful examination of the details of the bid to determine the best overall value to the district. In instances where the low bid was not accepted, a statement of the reasons shall be attached to the bid. There's nothing that says we have to take the low bid. So, that doesn't concern me. All right. I'm not trying to make a big stink about it, I'm just also saying, hey, this is a precedent we have talked about in the past. I don't think it's a precedent we should, you know, keep taking single bid action items when there's other companies out there and we could potentially get 3 bids to comply with our policy.
So how do we advertise to get bids?
For sealed bids, it's 2 weeks. We used to use the paper and the website, and the paper pretty much doesn't exist
So
anymore.
we give public opportunity to
Absolutely.
turn in bids.
And that's where
We just
one
didn't
came
get
from.
that, yeah.
One came from it being advertised.
And then you make phone calls.
And that was the one that didn't make it in on time, correct?
Correct.
Got a second thing about this, the junior high parking lot, so much of it is unused, seems like. I know band uses it, but it sits there empty all the time unless there's a practice going on at the football field there, the practice field there, or band's using it. I mean, I think you might have been here. Was it planned for junior high students to be driving to school and parking there? Because like, it's a huge parking lot and it sits empty.
Well,
So-
I think more of it's used than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of faculty members, because we actually lost several places over by the cafeteria when we rerouted the buses, where a
Right.
lot of our faculty park, so that more of those faculty members are parking in that lot. Is it full like our high school parking lot? No, but it is utilized.
It's utilized with basketball games.
Yeah, and I mean, you get a ball game over there, whether it's on that football field or in the gym, that parking lot's full.
Okay.
So. And motion second, any other discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Next action item is request to approve Chromebook purchase. Steve?
So with the time of the year, our Chromebook purchase for the next school year, 25-26, we kind of found a good number that we try to purchase every year, that we rotate units in and out, and that number is 650. We had a lot of different bids on this year, which is kind of strange. But we had 8 different people bid, and we had lots of different options within each of those bids. And basically, with the brand that we purchased last year that we were hoping to stay with again for another year, was almost $32,000 higher than last year. And so we really were opting for a different brand than we went with last year to save that money. We'll see there's bids that are a significant chunk lower than that, and that is another brand that we will not go with. So, kind of the low bidder thing, we still justify, the better product that we know is gonna have a better, longer life and hold up better, and we can fix it easier. But at the same time, we do try to find that blend, if we can not go with that brand, but go with a brand that's really probably almost is equally as good, and save $32,000, and that's what we wanna do. So, that was sealed bidder number 2, and that amount was $176,800, and that does include the green packaging, which we did for the first time last year. That is the best $4,000 you can spend. So I would like to request you guys approve that purchase.
Got a recommendation? Do we have a motion?
Which bidder?
It's bidder number 2,
And what did you say it was?
$176,800.
I think we're showing 178,750.
So that's how it is.
I'm showing bid
I'm
there.
showing 187,850.
It's the alternate
Right here.
So
bid
it's
number.
the
Got it.
172,250 plus the
Alternate bid on the
4550
bottom.
green. So that was not on
Right
that
there.
bid sheet. The green option was not on there.
I make a motion, we approve the Chromebook purchase as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So now's when we get to discuss it. Chromebooks they're a fact of life, right? We can't do school without these things, so it's just, we don't really have a choice at this point. So it's one of those, you just have to accept it. Where does these funds come out of? Is this?
This is gonna
Title
be
I.
Title
This
I.
is Title I funds?
Materials and supplies from Title I.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. Thanks, Steve.
Push that review back.
Thank you, Mr. Steve.
Next item on the agenda is our facilities work session. We've got Josh here. I'd like to also welcome Josh. I know we got Mr. Gregory back there to lean on too for some of the construction processes. We'll go ahead and get started, and we may take a break here in 15 or 20 minutes.
Well, good evening and welcome to the new board members. I'm going to go backwards to go forwards a little bit tonight and try to get this queued up for you. To kind of tell a little bit of the story in case anybody missed anything. I know some of them were at some of the other work sessions, but I don't want to miss an opportunity to share the story a little bit more. Let me see if I can find this device. What number is it? This is cast. Just going to try 3, whatever TDB 3 is. No, it was that one. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. Can you hit accept on that one?
Technology.
It's like, where's those bomb squad guys?
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to follow up after that. This says not move around or throw anything.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know, right? There we go.
Is this also shooting to the live stream too now?
Yes.
That's great.
I don't know why it's trying to connect to Discord. All right. Okay, so I'm going to kind of, like I said, go a little bit backwards and go forwards, because at this point we've evaluated 4 different options. And to kind of talk through that, obviously in context to the existing campus, we have some of these aerial images that we can always reference back to. And like I said last time, we've looked at the history of the campus over various time periods from 1966 to more present, 2010. And started to kind of graph out a little bit of our development as a campus over the years and how this campus has grown and where it's grown and how it arrived at the arrangement that we've all started to inherit. So I've got a little bit of this data that is in this presentation. And then that lands us to kind of currently where we're at. We know that what we call the big top, we know that the big top is the reason we're here. We are looking at what we have to do to replace that square footage. Currently, what is under roof in this diagram, we've got about 84,000 square foot of square footage. We're also seeing the gymnasium, which is out in front or to the east of the big top, of course. Then we've got the library, around 10,000 square foot library, and then the fine arts and admin building that is currently adjacent to the building. These are the kind of the components to our development as we've been talking about it. Buildings that may need to stay, buildings that may need to be renovated, and how we start to approach that. The gymnasium, for all intents and purposes, we've talked about leaving just untouched. We know that as the big top goes down, at some point, this western facade will be something that we'll need to address. It was once open to the elements. It has been closed in for a while. So there'll be some decisions that we'll need to make on that. We also know that the library has been somewhat of a sacred thing for a while. In our last millage campaign, we looked at removing the library and how do we make room for growth. Last time we talked, we felt that we might need to not touch it or repurpose it in some ways. Structure stays alone, but we repurpose it. And then, of course, the fine arts and admin was something that we looked at taking down or renovation. So that has been up for debate. In my first meeting, we brought just some rough ideas of where could this new building be? What does it look like as far as its location on campus? And so there were some ideas around, what do we want as a campus? These were the terms that we talked about that were the teachers' feedback from early work sessions of things they want in a building. They aided into that first workshop where we did the sketches and started to ask ourselves, okay, now we get to dream, and we get to dream big, whether it's an all-new construction project that sits west of the campus and connects, whether it's a replacement right in the heart of campus, whether it becomes a hybrid version where we look at the new front door, whether it's in the front or maybe even something to the north. And then we've also talked about knowing that we want to keep costs down, limiting our size, keeping this to a 2-level school, which is very, it's very good to do that for cost reasons, but it takes up more square footage because we have more footprint on the ground. And so these sketches came out of that first session. Sorry, I didn't mean to rush that one. These were the two alternates that were even, what happens if it's in front of campus? And what does it start to do to start to connect maybe some of the other buildings? So we came back, this is session 2. I'm starting to show a little bit more detailed approach in session 2. Session 2 was concepts that take the amount of square footage that we need and place them in a diagram form. So it kind of looks like a building plan, but they're really kind of bubble diagrams that emphasize the square footage needs for the campus. What it really does is replaces the roughly 85,000 square foot that we're going to be taking down for the big top and replaces it in a more efficient way. So concept 1 was an idea that it was out in front. It would have some pros and cons that we talked about, which is hurts our parking lot, changes the face of campus. Some pros would be it connects performing arts and the gymnasium. Pro and con, you would have to demo potentially the existing admin area, but you would actually have the opportunity to put back a cafeteria. A con would be that the cafeteria that we talked about has some constraints with loading and unloading, getting the kitchen to work. What does that look like? And this was just kind of a diagram of what that is. And it could be even that piece is just a renovated piece. Concept 2 was a split opportunity where we took one aspect of it would be all academics and replace the existing, and number 2 would be this other building that would be more cafeteria. We split it. The reason we were considering that was just the footprint, the ability to park and maintain the parking that we have, and then limit ourselves to how much we want to do long term. There's some real cons on this one because we know prevailing winds with smells of a cafeteria could be a problem for the stadium. It could be that the split program doesn't work real well. It takes a lot of our prime parking for the stadium. So there's some real kind of cons to this one. There's some pros, was just limited our impact. We still allow students to be able to traverse during construction, perhaps on a different path. But some real cons on this one is that you've got kind of 2 construction sites. This is a massing of just kind of what that was elevated. Concept 3 was this idea that we renovated the existing admin to the needs that we have. Perhaps that's new admin, that's new computer labs, there's our ROTC room, there's things that we'll be pulling out of the big top and putting in here that need the adjacencies to the rest of the campus. In this concept, it was a new construction on the football field. I think this one gained a little bit of traction because it preserved some things on campus. The roundabout, if you will, the connection to the overall, leaving a lot of things that can happen and be built during construction without impeding on your current way of which you're going to operate. So there's some pros on this one about going to the west that helps from a constructability standpoint. And then the cons were just that, is this the new face of the campus? Is it a renovation and a new building beyond? And are we just moving the pieces of the puzzle around? Are we spreading it out too much? A pro on this was it gives you a lot of growth potential because you have kind of a greenfield site. And so this kind of just shows what it takes to put that kind of program. The blue are indicators for like cafeteria and kitchen. This was the idea that when we take down the circus tent, we have a practice court in there that has to be replaced. Some cons on that is it's not any longer adjacent to the other court, and I think there's a lot of programs that share that overlap between PE and volleyball and stuff. So there's some cons that the concept 3 is. Concept 4, for the sake of it, was the idea of getting rid of a lot of what we had in the core, which is similar but not the same as our last millage campaign. It's similar in location but not the same because it is a 2-story building, and we looked at this, and I think where we arrived last time was we liked a little bit of all of them. And so tonight I'm bringing you back a flip of this one, which is a little bit of a hybrid. And I think that was the kind of the task of studying this and just trying to weigh into it. So what we currently have, and I'm going to move on to this concept 5, was a flip. We flipped that program on concept 4, where the repurposed library would now become our cafeteria. No longer would we have those computer labs. We would change how that works as a cafeteria space. We would maintain a road, the road that is currently there, so that the cafeteria can have a kitchen, which again was the idea of how do we use this space? Do we have a lot of pros and cons about traversing that site? You still got to be able to get a bigger truck in there. So this goal was in this area right here, basically leaving our cafeteria intact, but leaving that structure as well. Surrounding it with academic space, again, we have around 36 classrooms to make up. So these are double stacked. So you can see, you have hallways with classrooms with light getting to both sides of them. You've got a double stacked here, again, making sure that we have those 16 classrooms taken into account. There's some constraints on 5 that I think is worth mentioning from a constructability standpoint. This one really limits our north and south ability to build. And I think there's some pros and cons about that. On the short term, it's a really inconvenience for the contractor to come in and try to make it work in a very compacted way. Long-term, it might be the thing you want because it's a compacted campus, but there's some things that we should weigh out tonight and think about. We know that that practice court will eventually get replaced, and it's a fairly large size. So I'm showing in this magenta kind of diagram here that it can be located anywhere. It gives you the ability to have a new front to that north side. It also connects to the existing gymnasium. But one of the other tasks last time you asked me to look at is, now Josh, think about it long term, how many parking spots, if we're gonna lose some here, what do we gain back? And I think I've computed around 180 to 200 parking spots that once the big top comes down, you can repurpose. And I think that was a concern from the principal level to parking to, okay, what does our campus look like? We're already struggling to get students to be able to park here. I just wanted to kind of report back. When I lay this out, I'm thinking you're going to get around 180 and still allow you a nice parking lot with green space and trees, and it's not just going to be a giant sea of asphalt. I think you still are going to have buffers. With this said, this layout starts to show the indication of a new purpose library. I put the library, I tend to put it relatively close to the front of campus because that space is more of a space for all. It's not specialized like a GT room where only a certain amount of students use it. Usually everybody uses the library. And then of course, the idea of admin is always typically up front and center because that's your front door and your threshold to campus. So repurposing that admin here. Some pro on this one is that it does kind of connect. And I think early on, Ms. Morgan, we have talked, you brought up some concerns like, what does it really look like long term from going to the gym to the performing arts? Are we having students go outside to go inside? This option kind of closes in some of those constraints or those challenges. I would say we would want to rethink about what does that front door to the gymnasium look like? You know, is that now if this option was to move forward, you know, is the majority of the people parking here and over here, and where's that front door? Is it through a threshold somewhere in between? Is it a repurposed entry here? I think those are some things that we'll have to weigh out as we grow this into more fruition. I think there's some real thoughts about whether we want to continue with renovation or new construction. This option doesn't give you future growth plans that is connected as much if we leave the road intact. So some constraints on this would be, you know, if we needed to grow, hypothetically, we bring more classes down, or you have a phase 7 or whatever, you know, where is that going to go? Right now, there's not a lot of sacred qualities about the practice field, if you will. It is primed for construction. It's an easy site to build on, but it takes your students a little bit out of the core or the heart of the campus. So there's some things about that. I would say that we've got a little bit of utilities, but nothing that we can't overcome. I think we've all talked about this road potentially going away, or what happens if it gets changed or repurposed. And then even last time we kind of talked about a space, you know, just south over here, you can see my cursor, that what happens if that was to eventually go away. So I think that was on the table. So long story short, we've tried to kind of go back and forth and weigh out these 5 options. And 5 were kind of really a byproduct of almost 10, and we've kind of narrowed it down. And I think what I'm looking for is kind of what the board's heartbeat is as we move forward. I've talked to Ms. Jones. Our goal is that she's going to be coming in June, as we said, to evaluate our program of requirements, which is, you know, another acronym you don't really want to know, but it's called POR. That POR evaluates student population versus metrics against how many square foot you need per student. So typical classrooms, 850 square foot. Typical computer lab, for instance, 1,200 square foot. Science labs, 1,440 square foot. But it's the division standard of size. So we can't ever go lower than that. We can go bigger, but they don't fund against that, meaning that you're self-funding bigger space. But it's what kind of calibrates our size and square footage. And we adhere to that because it protects your investment into your campus, right? We can always build bigger, but that doesn't mean it's more efficient. We find that that's starting to change a little bit. There's a few programs that we're seeing in the K-12 market that are kind of going away. Computer labs are starting to become less of a mandatory thing because everybody has a computer. you know, they're no longer having to do labs as much. So they're repurposing those spaces differently. We're also finding that the division is getting better about funding and partnership. Some school districts get a lot more money than other districts. In particular, they're finally up to about $300 a square foot, which is a giant win. I've been working at that for about 12 years to change it. When I first got into K-12 design, they were funding at like $120 a square foot. And that was a very hard thing to hit when you're asking for a district to pay for half and they can't fund properly. So they're getting better about their funding mechanism. They're getting better about understanding constraints with square footages. But those are the limits that you guys get hindered on when you have to design or build a building. So it's stuff that the rules that we have to engage by, but it gives us the ability to start to purpose this. With this said, I think I'm going to just kind of open it up a little bit for questions or thoughts, and those that haven't had a chance to weigh in, by all means, interested in your thoughts or in your feelings so that we can kind of think through what we like and we don't like.
Did you say 350 a square foot? They've now
300.
changed it 300.
300.
Last I heard it was like 260 something. It's now 300.
Yeah, recently, I think at the 1st of May, around May 19th, I've been seeing a new list that's closer to 300.
Okay.
Which is like moving the needle. I mean, we might as well be on the moon. I mean, that's where we were to where we are. I didn't ever think we could do it, but it took a lot of the economy and a lot of people. I go down and speak to them and talk to them about what we see in the industry and how they just drastically underfund. And they know they can't keep up. They're trying, but you know, you have different things.
Sure.
And this one, and then the separate one in the field are the two that displace students the least. This,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, this
correct?
one for
This
sure
one
displaces them the least.
the
It's
least.
probably the biggest challenge for construction. I would not envy Mr. Gregory when we hit construction if we move forward with this one, because there's going to be a strong, like, how do we move students around? Because they use the performing arts area, the agri piece, they use this space. You would have to have a dedicated placement where students are allowed to go and not. The challenge for him also, and I don't mean to speak for you, Mr. Gregory, but the challenge is getting material, you know, lay down space, you know, time frame of which he's going to have to build this at that point. So there's some really constraints. You're shoehorning in a building in between. Long term, it might make the most sense because you have a compact campus, but there's going to be some really challenges, and that equals time and, you know, constructability.
That was the challenge for the last Mills Jazz too. The challenge that's different is building around the current library, correct? Like that's the additional challenge from the last Mill Jazz.
Correct.
Right?
The last millage ask, we took down the library
Right.
because Will and I, we talked about it and we were like, look, that library was just going to be a big, not a thorn in our side. I don't want it to be perceived as that, but it's hard to work around an existing building that doesn't have the same foundations, and it was just easier to say, let's wipe that clean. In this one, the challenge is we're going to renovate, we're going to spend money on something. Are we really getting what we want out of that? Because it has structure and things like that.
Can you slide back to 4 for us?
Sure. Oh, wrong way. For what it's worth, this is your POR, which is the metrics of which we calculate everything in. And so concept 4 is this one. Yep.
All right, we'll jump in here. Constructionally, that seems like a much easier
It is. Only
route
thing
to
is, I know
go.
we're trying to save the library, which is a big deal, but I would want to narrow it down and have a construction access on one side or the other.
Yeah.
So you can stage everything in the back, bring it around, and build a fence off the front, keep the students where they can get from building to building.
Yeah.
Be a lot safer
But the
too.
library
Yeah.
is, I mean, I know it's not that old and all that, but that also gives you, when you go in the practice field, you can tee the building, do whatever.
And you got room for growth past that in that same area. And then real quick, go back to 3, if you don't mind, just to.
That two-story structure going back like that,
Well,
that would
you-
almost put that second
You'll be-
story
next
right at
story, You're
ground.
gonna be at grade level on the practice field.
So you'd be able to step right into another building or another wing.
Yeah, that's right. Well, wings going, you go.
So we wouldn't be pushing it forward like we had talked about.
Depending on which plan.
if you were doing 4 no.
4 no,
Yeah,
5
yes.
yes.
Yeah.
3
My
no.
thought is an old building is like an old car. It's an old building to get done. You can replace everything in it, but
There's an old saying in the Bible, you can't put new wine in old chucks. Don't work.
And so in this one, the green area would be repurposed as
Just a remodel.
just a remodel of that existing space, correct?
That's right.
But the
Can I ask a
concern
question?
was by remodeling that in 10 years, we're gonna need to replace that. Because
The
it's
green
aging
area,
out, yes.
right, yeah.
And we
Which
don't-
is a real important thing to think about.
And we don't know what we're getting, we don't fully know what we're getting into in a remodel there.
Yeah.
There's a water issue already.
water's
Which
definitely a problem.
I
With that
talked to Chris about that earlier today. It could have they've worked on the roof. They cannot, I mean, they've been there.
We spent a lot of money on the roof.
We spent a lot of money trying to stop the water issue. So I learned a little bit today.
And I just kind of want to point out again, with this plan, what we're doing is adding more outside entrances.
I agree, yeah.
And that is kind of one of the things we're trying to get away from.
I mean, out of these 5 plans, it seems like, you know, just to me off looking at it, that number 4 makes the most sense by far from a construction and student standpoint.
Well, and from spending
Money, yeah,
spending it wisely.
by far the cheapest. I mean, wouldn't it be?
Well, I mean, probably the cheapest to go back there in that field, build a brand new building and not touch anything.
Yeah, that too, yeah. But this would be the second best, if
But
not, right?
security-wise,
Yeah.
then you got kids, you're not.
Crossing the road.
It leaves the plane intact.
Yeah, and you've got the future area with a solid building surface for any growth that would, I think, later save you money, you know, things like fill, different, you know.
I would just,
project
you know,
approaches.
just ballpark, I definitely wanna narrow it down in some way or another.
Yeah.
You need access on one side or the other.
I think we're trying to maintain 20 foot from existing structure to whatever the new one is. And that weighs into the existing library is already really pinched. And so if you leave that intact, there's some concerns about, or how do you get around and how do you stage it? How do you have to build to the front
Yeah.
and work your way back. And this one, if that is not a factor, you have a little bit more ability to narrow this in. You can still make those connections that I think we're all after, which is if a student walks in the front door, can they get to everything that they want to? Now, mind you, this one does not show the future court, but that could be right here, and now it connects, and you don't have students really going outside as much. And I think it kind of helps maintain a lot of the things that in the second session that were brought up, that was nervous about, hey, you know, more entrances, or is there a way to stay out of the weather instead of making students? There's a way that this option does allow this connection to get to the gymnasium with that other court and having kind of circulation path, so.
So the activity room on this is
It's
the,
not shown yet.
It's not really shown,
Just
on
imagine
on
it.
this
there's a
one.
blue block there.
I think
that
it's
says
the-
activity gym.
I think it's actually supposed to be the library.
Yeah, this
I looked
is
at it.
technically the library in this option.
And then locker, yeah, he's got them both. Can you kind of explain that? I see what you're looking at. Ms.
Oh,
Courtney.
on the 6 locker
The
rooms?
library.
Oh, I got you, yeah. It's just in blue at the top.
But I think, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I
interesting.
actually don't know why
I thought
I
that's the
have that
library
labeled
and
as
that's the
blue.
activity gym. It's on the plan.
He's got 3 blues.
So I know that I'd laid out where the library would be on this side, the admin would be kind of up front and center, but
It's
I
there.
actually think that might be an error, that it's not to be labeled the locker rooms. Because that would need to be replaced after all of this, because that court is around this size here.
So the main negative on this is that we lose the current library.
That is, yeah,
That is, but that makes everything else work.
correct.
Even though we are
Reroute
still
that plan?
paying on that.
You could, yes.
But sometimes do you keep putting good money?
It is
After
part of the
bad.
debate. We would lose a lot of our road in this option, but I don't know that that road is sacred in any way. I mean,
You've
the
got to
road
be
was
able
placed
to
there.
get to the cafeteria, which I'm guessing you could do.
That's right.
I mean,
And I would say that
I
in
mean,
this
now you've got-
option,
You could have faculty parking out back, you could
Correct.
put a bus turnaround on either end of that. I mean, there's
I mean, that
there's
makes
plenty
a lot
of
of sense.
options.
Turn around in the band lot.
Yeah,
Just go right up in between Agri and FFA.
yeah.
And it does give an opportunity for expansion later that will connect.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like if that agri building was, say, the next building to be replaced, you could tee right off at a 90 off of the back side of that, and then you're done.
Yeah.
You know, the hallways all connect.
So would you go forward to because we just need to point out the debate's been the library, and honestly, after that one meeting, I emailed several teachers that were complaining about the library. And it is because we're still paying for the library, and now you're gonna tear it down. But if we gotta do this and have the space, do we increase our costs by saving the current library? Or do you recognize maybe that was part of that's where we didn't plan ahead and sacrifice? That's the question. I just want to make sure everybody knows that's what we're dealing with, and I want everybody who's zooming in, it's not because we want to throw away good, we know that, but it's going to cost us more, and this does not allow for growth. So that's something you really have to think about, and maybe
You're saying 5 doesn't allow for growth?
this one does not allow for
Yeah,
growth.
you're right.
And are we locking ourselves, and maybe that's what happened the last time when the library was built. We didn't plan for growth, and here we are.
You would have some growth once the big top was removed.
That's true. You'd have that space.
You could go out that side.
That's right.
You know, we keep thinking, you know, the building will be gone
Right.
eventually, so.
You can still grow this way.
But then, I think the big struggle in the construction is everything around that library structure has to be built to that grade, right? Correct? I mean, it wouldn't, I mean,
You're gonna keep your floor levels the same, I would.
and so how many square foot is that library?
It's roughly, I've got it down as 10,000 square foot, which seems a little bit.
I thought it was, I thought you said it was less
It
than
doesn't
that.
feel like it's 10,000.
I thought it was 3,500.
But you're trying to build 80,000 square foot around a 10,000 square foot.
Well, and then with that, you're tearing all the bombers, you're messing up all the whole front, you're gonna redo everything.
Yeah.
To get it out of school.
Yeah, and then, so I mean, Navy permission, all of that stuff to relocate the bomber. And that's fine, we just, I mean, that's the process we need to do, then we go down that road,
But you gotta compare the costs.
I mean, at
on
the
that.
end of the day, that's not a 60-year structure. That's a kick in the can for the next board to decide, just like.
Almost creating the same problem.
Creating the same
Yeah,
problem.
just lipstick on a pig with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so go back now to the one. So you're still reducing entrances, or you're not creating new ones, is that right?
We're really not trying to, on this option, you're not creating many new ones.
Okay.
In fact, I think you're getting a better front door, if you will.
Okay.
You know, that changes, and then you're gonna have, you know, you have to picture this going away. Then you're gonna have a new front door over here, or a side entry exit based on your parking, or where your teachers might be parking, or student athletes are parking. You know, how you disperse that is really up to you guys. But you're not creating anything more than you already have.
Should be
From an entrance
less.
standpoint.
That's
Should
what,
be
but
way
are we
less.
reducing? Because
Yeah, I think
second
you
to
are.
the library,
Should be
because we're
way
paying
less.
for it, hearing from that, it was, we need less entrances.
Mm.
We need less ways.
Would the
I mean,
entrances be
yeah.
dependent on fire code more than
They
anything?
are. The quantity is
Okay.
dependent upon occupant load, but how you monitor them and how you let
But that's,
the public
right.
get into it is up
Another
to you.
thing on this one here at the back is actually better because it's a hard door, not a gate.
That's right.
An open gate.
That's
compared to what
perfect,
we
yeah.
have now.
Yeah, it's not a gate to the courtyard,
That's
yeah,
correct.
where somebody could
It's-
drive a
it's a
car right
long
on through
door.
if they wanted to.
And if this,
a
like,
good
for me
point.
tonight,
Yeah.
coming out of this, as we talked about last time, would be, we kind of land on a site, and then I will refine this with options within that, and say, all right, here's, you know, how the cafeteria could change or grow. Where I'm kind of at is, are we going one direction or the other? If this is the move, then I can design around that. If we say, no, we're leaving the library, then I need a design around the library. I will say, for me, this makes life a lot easier for me and for him, because I'm not having to adhere to that finished floor elevation. I'm not having to use a structural engineer to compare that structure versus what this is, which in that case will be limited. You know, the library can't put a second level on it. You know, there's things. So this option does make life easier in a lot of ways, but it comes at a cost of, hey, we've got, you know, of space.
Yeah.
6:45, does anybody need a short break?
Yeah.
We'll take a short break and then we'll come back. Get a snack.
Little snack, little snack, little bag.
And we can carry on while we're snacking a little bit. I'd like to hear Josh talk with his mouth full.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
It's my fault, Andy. Go get something to eat.
Really need you solid there.
Can you go back to number 4?
Yes, sir. And I did place on this diagram just that court, that you see here. So,
Okay, now what, that's the basketball court or the gymnasium?
yes, sir. Mhm. The practice court, that pink box.
Okay. Because during basketball season, they have JV games in front and back at the same time. Is it accessible from the inside?
It would be, yeah. In this scenario, we can place it wherever and make sure it's adjacent to it.
Can we move it straight back to where it, instead of back on the old? Okay. I think that makes more sense. Be able to enter it just like we did currently.
Okay.
Can we confirm we're live? So, doesn't that turn blue when we're streaming, or am I backwards?
I'll go make sure.
Okay, thank you.
I'm pretty sure you just did it.
Yes, we're on. We're on.
We are?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I
So is
apologize.
the pink box new? Like, that's gonna be the new?
That would be the size of the practice court. And yeah, that would be new because we'd have to put it back. And to your point, Mr. Knight's point, let me zoom. It can go here or wherever we want that to go. I tried to load that up while we're at break.
Do you anticipate having seating in there?
I wasn't, no, it's pretty much just a court only. I mean, if we build it back, we just need to decide if we want storage or
You'll need seating.
small bleachers or, yeah, what we want that to look like, feel like.
It's really just a representation of the square footage needed?
Correct.
Okay.
It doesn't need 500 seats.
No.
Just when we have tournaments and so forth.
Kind of like what we have now?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. We'll hire seating.
Without the leaks and the humps in the floors?
Those
and-
leaks have been in there since 1971, by the way. You know that pipe that comes down the middle?
Mhm.
We were skating across there one year, basketball practice, and everybody was slipping back because the rain was coming through there. And that's what they came up with.
Hmm.
No, the black pipe comes in, because it was flat up there. Flat roof.
There's one.
So it was mentioned a minute ago that by doing Scheme 5, that keeps the library, we're kind of doing the same thing that we've currently done, piecemealing it together, and it shortens the lifespan. It's not a 60-year structure. I haven't heard anything negative about the library structure. No reason why it shouldn't be able to last another 40 years or so, which is kind of what I think of for a school, is, you know, that 40 to 50 time frame. What is it about the current library that if we do Scheme 5, that's going to limit the lifespan of a new build? Or is there any?
It's just that the footprint that we have with the existing library limits our ability, like if it turns into a new cafeteria and kitchen, the retrofit of it to make it a kitchen is going to be more challenging because we have existing structure to work around. There's going to be some of those things that would be probably the negative. You're limited because of the footprint and the structure that itself. It's not going to give you maybe as much open space. The two computer labs that are on the north side of that building right now would, maybe some walls go away to open that up to be more cafeteria-like. So there's some demo, and all of a sudden you start to weigh in, what are we really keeping? Are we keeping a lot? Is it really helping us keep this? It does limit you because it's a one-story building, and a lot of this concept was trying to play off of a two-story space. So it does have some negatives in that regards, like the unflexibility or inability to change it is probably its biggest constraint of itself. The structure itself, the steel structure that it is not there's no concerns about longevity for it, it's just that it's not movable as an object.
Okay, so we're looking at these classrooms, and just because another constituent just reminded of some space that needs to be, because I haven't been on this part of a process before.
Sure.
So if you needed a new 1,200 square foot lab that we've never had on the high school campus before, and we're replacing, so we're taking the classrooms that are gonna be torn down and we're putting them in this new part, are we adding additional classrooms that could assist in new labs and new types of
Correct.
construction?
There
Is
are,
more?
in this arrangement, you will see some of these bigger rooms, like these kind of darker purple spaces, which is choir or art rooms or tech rooms. Those are those bigger square footages that give you flexibility in the long run.
So we just need to make sure we have
Yes,
labeled
ma'am.
every new
That's right.
space that we need. And does this allow for it? And if this didn't, then we could kind of push on out at the tail.
That's right.
The tail feathers.
And that's what I think both
And
Mr.
add some
Gregory and
more.
myself, and just anybody that's looked at this, is saying that
Okay.
you really give you give yourself a back door of growth.
Cause you have
in this
unlimited
option.
space on the backside, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to overbuild, that's not what anybody's proposing.
But we don't want to
we don't
underbuild
wanna
before
underbuild.
we
Correct.
even get started.
And I will say, I mean, it is extremely common to underbuild. I have gotten projects near completion and, a wave of, 4-year-olds come through on an elementary school that they didn't anticipate, and it pops another 100 students and they need 3 more classrooms before we could even get the first construction, because construction takes time. This takes,
It's
That would
kind
be
of like creating
fantastic.
classroom
That would
space.
be
great, wouldn't it? I think that'd be awesome.
I want
You're
that
creating
problem.
classroom
Bring 'em
space
on.
for the future, just like we're trying to teach to a job market for the future, and you don't really know what that is. So you do need some vacant space to allow for an aviation program or a new type of
Flexibility.
engineering program.
The good news on this is because it's a high school, you see those students coming versus pre-K through 6. Sometimes we don't see that. Here you will. You'll know your classrooms are coming through.
If you had to add on, would it be easier to add on going back towards the practice field or going back to where you're talking about putting the parking lots?
Well, I think that's left to be decided. Probably, I mean, if we have our parking needs, it's probably just as easy to grow north right there and leave some of that other space alone. I don't know what I don't know. I think there's some rock back here, but I don't have enough history
No,
with
in
any of
Arkansas,
it.
there's no rock.
It's weird, but we have these shelves. I would say that we know that this is, you can bear on this, it's flat.
It's all rock back there.
Over here,
It's all rocky.
Behind the
Yeah.
field or on?
The field itself, all the way up to here is one big shelf.
It was all big cedar glade.
Got one question.
So everyone keeps talking about the library, can you circle where that is on
Um,
on this one, whereabouts?
give me 2 seconds here and I'll try to do that for you. It is roughly right there.
Okay, so in this plan, you guys are already crossing the street. So why don't you just build around it, keep going that way, swing the road around, get your access to everything that you need, and call it a day. That way, no one's knocking down the library, which is sacred to taxpayers. It makes everyone mad. You still have room to expand, and then you can still go north if you need to in the future. So you've crossed the street with this plan. You're already there. May as well just move the road just a little bit, right?
So are you putting a 2-story structure around a 1-story structure?
You can do that. There's nothing stopping you from
Kind of
doing that.
alluding to this concept 3, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're just keeping it narrow, so it's still compact. You have less doors. You're keeping that, sure, 1-story building intact, but it's there. And you just kind of build around it.
And you have the ability to repurpose the road still.
And you can just swing the road around. And that way, taxpayers can't come to you and say, hey, you guys just demolished this building that we paid for and we're still paying on. No, you worked around it, because
Even though it cost us more money?
do you know if it's gonna cost you more money yet?
If we find, if that's the burning question, I think, is which costs more to do.
Exactly.
I mean, because,
Because no one's said a dollar amount yet, but as Mr. Booth said when we were talking, people are gonna look at this, with can you go back to the last one? People are gonna look at this one and the one before that, and they're gonna go, this is millage number 1 and 2 all over again. That's gonna be their thing. It's almost the same plan, except you've taken a story out. Now, people have to understand, regardless of how we do this, this is not going to be cheap. The era of cheap is over. I don't know how to explain that to taxpayers. I know that the taxpayers that will be the loudest are not in the room with us right now. They'll show up later at some point, but if that's a big hangup, I don't see why you can't just build around it.
So Chris, at one point, when I ask questions, because it's about roof lines and things too. You're not
Yeah.
even talking floor elevations, it's roof lines.
Drainage, where's the water?
And so I was told that to attach the library roof to any other structure, then you've got drainage issues. So you're gonna have drainage issues going into our new structure. And there you go with good money after bad. I mean, you have to think.
Well, is there a possibility that you could build on top? Just take the
That's
roof off the
where- I
library
don't
and build
know.
up one
I don't
level?
believe it's been designed to handle that type
Handle
of.
that.
Wow.
Why do you have to touch the library? Even the roof line, you're not actually gonna build right to it. I mean, there can be whatever that space is and a hallway connecting it, and the roof lines don't have to connect. I think the thought on the cost is even at 3,000 or 3,500 square feet at $350 a square foot to rebuild that same square footage, tear it down and rebuild it, it's gonna cost $1 million, $1.2 million just to rebuild the same square footage. And then there's a demo cost as well to demoing it. So that, I mean, right there, people are gonna be like,
So are you
this is
thinking
not-
put a hallway with a cover over it like what there is now? Because if you walk through there's a wind tunnel effect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not comfortable. And, you know what? Kids don't have to be comfortable, neither do teachers.
Yeah,
But you're gonna put a wind tunnel all the way around it now. So to go to the library, which it's not always real easy to get students
I'm not saying you have to go
choose.
outside to get to the library. I mean, the hallway can come right to those,
So what
to
happens
those
to the
doors.
roof line?
Any roof lines are tied in.
You're not gonna go from the top story into the library.
So
It'd be
you
from
just
the,
bump
it'd be
the
from
roof
the lower,
line
it'd be from the
into the-
lower story straight into the library, but you don't have to, that whole building doesn't have to butt up to the library.
Or how about you keep from the library on the building on back, instead of making that 2-story, just spread out and keep it at one level. So you see the 2-story from the park, you get to the library, and then everything back there becomes 1-story.
Hey, Will,
Your grade wise.
Will, in your professional opinion, I mean, is it financially what makes the most sense?
I don't need to run numbers on it, but I mean, I know it's a nice building tearing it down, but, you know, you're talking about that, you're great when you get to practice field, you'll be at the second or that went floors probably Josh from 15.
I think we thought 13, 15 feet.
Typically. But I don't know, I mean, you're doing a lot of work to work around it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So are you saying it can almost cost more money to work around the library?
well, if we go up, for how much pushing out the front and everything else, then you go and tear all other stuff up. I don't know, I mean,
Yeah.
without putting numbers to it,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
There's no question that the previous plan on the previous ask made a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. That made the most sense. That's why this board selected that plan and said, hey, let's go forward with it. The public's rejected that twice. So if we sit back and say, okay, well, more or less, we're gonna put it in the same spot, but it's not gonna be a 3-story, it's gonna be a 2-story, and it's not gonna look as flashy or maybe so much glass. We've been down this road before. I mean, I think we're wasting our time if we submit basically the same plan forward again.
Well, one of the biggest things you heard was the Taj Mahal approach that it had with the previous one. And I think people might be more open to a toned down version of that, which this seems similar to that. I agree with what Scott said. I see the point there, but this seems like a much more toned down version than what we had presented as the public the first time around. For a similar result, it seems like it would be a lot cheaper than what the first one was to the taxpayer.
Because
It's
it's
half the-
30,000 square foot less, is that about?
Yeah, I
What was the second? Phase 2, I don't know
Phase
how
2
many
was,
square feet it was.
also another 78,000 square foot.
And the build's gonna be as expensive as phase 1 and phase 2. So now we're gonna come in and say, hey, phase 1, and it's gonna be just as expensive, and we're still tearing down the library and the fine arts. And
With scheme 4, you're saying?
with just this, right, as opposed to the last one, it's gonna be as expensive. It's gonna be 35 to 50 million probably to build what we're talking about right here.
35 almost.
And guess what? Bond rates are gonna be higher, so we're not gonna get a 2.2 millage ask. It's gonna be more than that. So I think if we go down that road, my gut feeling is we're wasting our time. Like, I don't think that's it's gonna be well received. So the things that I've heard over and over, and maybe y'all have heard it, maybe I haven't heard it, was keep the library and fine arts. I can understand, hey, the fine arts is gonna cost us much to renovate, and it's old, as to rebuilding. Needs versus wants, right? So we have to build what we need right now, come back later or whatever and ask for the wants. And we have to, I mean, it has to be less than before. I've
If
heard
it's
those things.
feasible, I can come on board with the library. I cannot put good money into a structure like the fine arts.
I agree. I'm
that
not
we
arguing for
already
fine
know
arts.
is gonna have to be replaced in the next 5 to 10 years. And we're gonna have voters look at us and say, why didn't you take care of that at the time? I can't do that.
I agree, and I'm not arguing for the
I
fine
can't.
arts. It makes sense to replace the
Yeah.
fine arts, right?
But I'm struggling, and I was big on keeping the library, that's what they said. If it's gonna cost us more money, I think we have to say, do you want us to spend more money to keep what's there? Or do you want us to make a pleasant-looking, non-Taj Mahal?
I think that's the
don't know.
information we need to give them.
That's
the
information we
information
gotta
that
know.
I felt like that they have seeked as the public, you know,
Yes.
that they were not receiving, that you heard about every day.
Right.
You know, as far as the taxpayer passing it, you know, I don't think the library is big of an issue as it might be to people inside the school. So, I mean, to me, I don't think the library is that big of an issue as far as repurposing it goes. You know, to me, it seems like it would actually save money currently, you know, just from what we've seen.
Are you saying to
tonight.
tear it down, or are you saying to repurpose it?
Well, if the plan scheme 4 is completely gutting it and
tear it
moving it
down.
correctly,
Yeah.
correct? I mean,
That's what concept 4 is.
yeah.
You think about if you're gonna repurpose that into a kitchen, you're cutting the floor out of it.
Yeah.
Why would we repurpose it?
That was about to be
Why
my
can't it be
question.
just
It's
stay the library?
Stay the library.
Okay.
That was my next question. I think you were
So-
about to ask me that, Mr. Knight, as well,
To
like,
help-
repurpose it.
yeah.
Why can't it stay the library?
It can, the library would stay at kind of the back of campus, but it creates, how do we deal with the cafeteria? We don't want the cafeteria up front because of loading and unloading, and the
Mhm.
cafeteria wants to occupy the back of campus. So that's kind of where this repurpose conversation came in our last session was, oh, it makes sense that back here would be the cafeteria, and you just move the program around so that you can load and unload your kitchen, because you have your dumpsters.
We talked about scheme 4 where the cafeteria's on the north side. Hey, flip it, right? So the cafeteria opens out, exits out to the back.
That'd be good.
So you can get to it from basically where the courtyard is now, right? I mean, is that not feasible at all, to where that little black square is, that maybe that's where the loading dock is for the cafeteria?
I foresee that being in this option, being there. What you're seeing here is, this is what it would take to have a cafeteria the size that you're looking to have.
And that's where the library is.
And that's why that kind of was occupying that. So if you left the library, we would need to come back with, you know, this type of square footage somewhere for just cafeteria.
And now I'm finally
Could you pop
understanding
it
why that
behind it?
doesn't allow for growth,
Correct.
because you've got the cafeteria with all the food waste right
right.
there, and what are you gonna build? How can you go back out?
Correct.
That makes
And there
sense.
is no way, and this is something I've asked Chris, and I know what he's gonna say, if you could just wait on the cafeteria and do it with the gym. There's no way.
There's the food truck concept again.
He says
How many
it's,
food trucks? Everyone in town? Not getting reimbursed on meals because they don't meet
that concerns,
requirements?
that
That's a
does
big deal.
concern me.
So one thing we should at least throw out there.
You gotta
What
do
if the
it.
cafeteria was its own standalone building that's set across here and it was built separately?
That's why I was saying, let's pop it back and leave the library.
When I went to school at Guy Berry, the cafeteria was a freestanding building out there. It was just a wood building that they added on years later.
We're in different times now with the security risk.
I was gonna say, it's that,
That they have to walk to, yeah.
that's the whole, that was the main thing I keep hearing is that
Yeah.
Parkland shooting was, every building was separated, which was a whole lot like what we've got. Every building was separated.
And the amount of outside time the students had.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of having a separate cafeteria.
Right.
Cause it rains, it snows, it's muddy, it's wet.
Right.
It actually makes future growth harder, the more
Yeah.
you expand this, because there's more empty space. Well, where do you fit stuff? The more compact it is, when you're talking future growth, it leaves you, like, we're spread out here, okay, well, we've got, you know, the cab hall and agri, and if it's nice and compact, it's easy to build a wing off of it one direction or another. So if you expand to the west, it makes it harder to fill in the empty spaces with some future growth.
If, I'm thinking if you look at this, plan, if you expand, you've gotta go back towards where the big top is. You can't go across the road.
Or where
You're
the,
gonna keep them connected.
or the Votech to the south, which is the oldest building on that campus, I think, other than the.
One of the oldest structures, yeah.
Other than the original structures under the big top. So at some point, maybe that needs to get, and you could expand to the south or to the north. I think there's two good expansion options
Is
for a
that the
future
industrial
board.
arts building?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's old and yes,
It's worse than the big top, Franks. It's terrible.
Will, I might need your help on this, but let's play off of that a little bit in time. So let's say we make some version of this work where we're not losing the airplane, we get this to work. We build the academic space, we leave the library alone. We take down as much of the big top as possible. We know that this portion is a cafeteria. So you take down that, you leave the existing cafeteria intact and connect, and then build the new cafeteria in phase 2 here, and then take down the old. It's a logistical, probably.
It's if you can do it.
The only thing is
It's if you can do it.
I'd be worried about that, taking part of that. bringing it
Yeah.
down, leaving part of it there.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out another way to, you know,
That, it definitely be looked at from that standpoint.
but maybe something's there because it was added on and how it was added on. You know, it might be something that allows that cafeteria to be.
You would leave literally that whole second.
Yeah. you
Yeah,
would
all
leave
of that, even, you
this.
could even leave the practice gym until,
Yeah, we have to do that anyway, right?
Pretty sure that addition, that cafeteria addition was the big top. So it wasn't a structure under the big top, so you would
no,
have.
that's right, it's part of the,
It's
that
part-
second half.
It was literally.
That's right.
that
Is
was
part,
made
so
it-
the original,
You're right.
the original cafeteria would be the ROTC room.
Okay.
The current.
Yeah.
The current, the
Correct.
current ROTC room would have been in the original cafeteria under
Mhm.
those original structures. So if you go peeling a roof back, you've exposed once you peel the roof, you've
Yeah,
exposed all, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a good point.
I mean, can the auxiliary gym there, can they eat in the auxiliary gym for a year? I
If we
mean,
had a kitchen.
We definitely gonna spend way more money with their library down.
Yeah.
How much
Yeah.
food can the junior high cafeteria
That's,
produce?
Chris and I've talked about, that one can't, that one could maybe do one
If you
more
wanted to
grade.
do a library, or a
Library,
kindergarten,
maybe.
if you wanted to do.
You'd probably do Nelson Wilkes at a kitchen, cause
maybe
it's less
Nelson
food,
Wilkes, Skyberry, Easy, not high school.
it's less food.
Now, this one says 36 classrooms.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a loss of one on the other plan? Are they all 36
I
classrooms?
thought so, that's our request, we could go back in though and work
Yeah.
on that.
There was, at one point, we were looking at 35, but then we realized that with the library, currently, the current library has 2 extra labs. And so when you move that over from no longer library, we had to add the classroom to make up for the one that we're losing.
And what when we get to the point, we will literally label
Yeah.
to make
Okay.
sure that we have enough before anything is turned in.
R-
And multiple people will look at it.
Right now, I'm favoring scheme number 4. I think it will be, because that that auxiliary gym would just be a metal building.
Yeah, it could be whatever it wants, yeah.
Yeah, we don't need it. You know, I want, I want a nice facade.
Sure.
And then I want block walls.
Mhm.
Or,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be fancy, they don't need any wood trim or anything like that going down the hallways.
What's that junior high, practice gym? Is that kinda what you're talking about for that
Yeah,
practice
pretty
gym?
much.
Just,
Yeah,
a
you're
gym.
going to have,
just,
you're going to have bleachers in there.
So I know this is an ignorant question, but
There's no.
yeah, there is. This'll prove it, okay.
Students.
We keep saying that when you tear down that library, you lose everything. Do you really lose everything? Is there anything that's salvaged that can be, do you really, the
Yeah.
floor, everything, foundation, do you lose everything? Or are we just losing walls? What, we're losing everything?
I think
It's
you
mo-
really lose some walls. You're gonna, it already has like a little kitchenette in it, if I recall.
Uh-huh.
That's not gonna work for a new kitchen.
Oh, no. I
and
just
things like
wondered,
that,
are
of
we
course.
totally losing what we're still paying on? Are we losing everything?
Can you reuse the foundation, essentially? Is that what
Something,
you're-
I'm just saying, even that would offer, we're trying, folks.
Right.
We're trying.
I doubt if you can, I doubt the foundation would support two-story building.
Yeah.
No, it will.
You're
it won't be
losing
designed for
everything.
that.
It'd be like you're just mowing it down to the ground.
Exactly.
And, you know, those foundations are sized based on the loading.
Yeah.
So the mat slab or
Sure.
however they were. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really about how you want the flexibility for your long-term growth. I mean,
Sure.
I think what the patrons need to understand is that you're trying to make the next 50 years or more work well. And I wasn't around, so I wasn't around when that building was built, and I think it probably served its purpose for that building, but they weren't thinking a whole new high school 20 years ago or 10 years ago. Or I think what the circus tent has provided for us is a dilemma that it's reached the end of its life. And now what, when you have 85,000 square foot to replace? You know, we had 6 buildings underneath it, and we need to replace all of that. And it's kind of this thing that has grown to be a big monster on campus where it doesn't give flexibility because you can't just gut it and fill it. That was one of the first conversations Dr. Long had was, should we just gut it and use what we have? And we weren't. When you go underneath and you look at it and you recognize that the structure itself is not consistent. Like the beams and the columns are not the same. They're all uniquely different, which means that it wasn't designed to be more than just a shell. It was just protecting what they had underneath. But it doesn't provide flexibility either. So my dilemma is we're really trying to make the best for the next 50 to 100 years on this campus. And what's going to get us there? You know, this option 4 is a much closer, even though it's so similar to what we went through for 2 years, because it still gives you this ability to grow to the west. It will give you the ability to have new access or a north entrance, or, you know, when this goes away, it does change the dynamic of your campus a lot. And, you know, I'm fully convinced that we can get the architecture to whatever it needs to be. I just want to make sure we put it where, you know, you guys are thinking that, look, this is the right place to put it at this point. We're thinking beyond just that library was something that I think they needed a need. They built the library, it fit right there, and it was a cost-effective solution, and they weren't thinking, oh, we'll eventually need to go up, or we need to build around it. I think it was isolated, and I, you know, maybe some of the previous board members could have said, oh, I was here and I voted on that, and this is why we did that way, but I haven't heard that story yet.
Well, most times when you're rebuilding and remodeling, you do what you think is best at the time. Because of money or whatever.
That's right.
And you just make it fit.
Right.
And then we're in this stage now where it's not working.
Right.
And I'm like Mr. Booth, I don't like tearing good buildings down.
Right.
But if we can tear that building down and save money, I'd much rather go that way.
I think the question to get out to taxpayers, and I'm hoping they're watching, is, you know, y'all need to let us know. Do we want to constantly be patching.
Right.
Or as previous boards have done, it's a whole new day. I mean, you can ask any teacher on any campus, is your curriculum the same today as it was 5 years ago? And I can guarantee you it is not. And even the tools that you use. And if we're gonna produce the future workforce, which is our job, that's what we're here for. Are we gonna, are we gonna send the message, we're gonna patch them together and y'all figure it out? Or are we finally gonna say, it's time, now we come up with what's really right, what allows for growth, will save money over the long haul? I mean, this is tough, and I kind of promised a couple of teachers we'll save that library. But really, are we gonna do that when it costs more?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're asking for X number of square foot or square feet multiplied by how many dollars per square foot that's gonna cost. It doesn't matter if it's 1 story, 2 story, 3 stories. I don't care if it's brick or glass or that's what we have to work with.
That's what we got.
That's our formula. So, I mean, that's what we need to present to our taxpayers. We have no idea. We're not picking paint colors. We know that we need this many square feet, and this is roughly what it's going to cost.
Mhm.
Whether we tear something down or not. I mean, even if we went out on the practice field and built a box, it's gonna cost the same.
And, yeah.
I might make the statement that, this round, I don't know that we show visuals of what the building is. It's literally a plan saying we know that equation.
Yeah.
This is what we need. And I say that because that defers design to later, but let's get it passed before we design.
Yeah,
We
these
can
are
lay
the-
it out.
yeah, those are
for
the real
application.
needs. I like that,
yeah.
So you're just
Me too.
so what you're deciding is a layout.
We're deciding a layout, we apply for funding for that layout, and then we just pause until we get the yes.
And with the layout, do you need to know about the library?
I do, because I
That's what I
just need to kind of make sure, I've got to design around
Yeah,
it.
so
a
we
little
do
bit.
have to.
That's when the second board comes in.
Let me ask this question.
They're here.
Inside.
They're here.
I know we've had 3 planning sessions. Are we past the idea of reimagining the layout of this?
No.
Because we're talking about the big top going away, what you can do. Everything on our current campus has a northeast, a northwest, southwest slant to it. The only thing that is square north and south is the big top,
Right.
which is going to go away, right? The gym will be the only thing that still is square north, south, east, west. I'm sitting here going, if you could make the building run northwest, southeast, it might fit into the structures that we're saving. And now I'm going, okay, well, we talk about the Agri building, it being the oldest, it's gonna come down. I would rather tear the Agri building down by the library. And if to the south, right, you've zoomed in a smidge, but there's all that parking on the south side. Hey, we're gonna gain a lot of parking on the north side where the big top is. If you extend south of the band hall where the Agri building is, I mean, can you imagine something running parallel to all the current structures that fits? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Hey, we passed reimagining this. The big top's defining where that is, but the big top's going away too.
But it can't go away until we have a place to put kids.
Correct. That's why you can't do
That's
what
what's
Josh has just
causing
done
the
there,
real
but
issue, isn't it?
to the south of the band hall where the Agri building, if we're gonna tear a building down, let's tear down the Agri building, which we've already said is old and decrepit, fit it into that back parking space, maybe somewhere like that. I mean, is there a way does that make any sense, reimagining the school maybe here?
But you don't have connection.
The gym is
Yeah,
off by
yeah.
itself at that point.
So your Agri building is a lot of square feet. We don't need quite as much as in there, but with it being CTE, there's a lot of laws and rules. There's offices. I think, how many square feet did we say that was? 50,000 more, something like that? Somebody looked at that with me. Nobody's making eye contact.
And you may not even need to go far into that field. You can
Right.
go more to the southeast into that parking lot. I don't know, I'm just, hey, let's explore everything, especially since we're hung up on keep the library, tear the library down. Well, if we're gonna tear a building down, let's consider tearing down the oldest one, and if we have to rebuild space, that may make the most sense to rebuild.
How many classrooms are in that building
It's your-
and how many, that'll displace students?
It's your 3 or 4 shops. You've got your computer class, you've got like Birkenstock and Fowler's and Young, and then
White, Owen, and.
Carpenter. All that crew is all in there.
And a lab in between.
We got a question?
So if you move the building over there, you're engineering a total structure to fit through the natural storm path, storm drainage of all the water flow in the area.
So water flow is not something that we've even considered, or I'm even considering on what's
I'm
there for
looking
someone.
at it from where I'm
Well, sure.
sitting now.
You know, I did have a question about, doesn't the city require retention ponds, like, are we gonna have to put a retention pond somewhere in here, and that, we haven't even touched on water
Yeah,
flows
the
and that.
engineering of the.
Some of that stuff,
Yeah,
but-
there's some of that we've got to tie into, for sure.
You will have to do
Yeah.
something, even the parking lot.
So is there a more creative way for moving students around while, tearing down the big top first makes absolutely the best sense.
Sure.
It's just, do we?
You
But
can
not
do
even
trailers.
first. You can't do it first.
trailers.
To do that.
When they priced trailers 4 years ago,
Yeah.
give or take, it was about $1 million a year. We can do it. It's just something to
But that's
think
again,
about.
have you just about replaced the library?
Now, I'm not talking about tearing down the big top first,
Oh,
that's
but that's
keeping
if
the
you
big
did,
top.
but I mean,
Yeah.
that would
I'll
make,
just ask
that's
that
the easy,
question.
I mean,
Is
that
there a
would be
place to
amazing
move
if you
But
could
a
do
couple of
that.
classrooms, or how
Just put
many,
it there.
we said 4 classrooms there that we
No.
may do, out of
No.
the agri
From the
building?
agri building.
Oh,
How
no,
many?
there's 1,
If-
2,
if-
3, 4, 5, 6, and that's
Six in
just
a
on the
lab.
front half, and then all those in the back.
And then your shops.
And then your
Actually,
shops.
2
The
labs.
shops are what's gonna hurt,
And then
certainly,
classrooms in the
so-
back, because you were just thinking the classrooms front
Yeah, I'm
side.
just thinking education.
So then you've got the classrooms in the back of Josh and that crew, bathrooms, and then those shops. And we got
forgot
a lot
about
of shop
that.
space,
Yeah.
which we don't have to have all of.
Well, that's what I say, if we're rebuilding an agri space at some
Yeah,
point,
you would.
build the agri space next to the greenhouse first, right? And then tear the agri building down and build this new structure. Like, it can be done where we're not losing the classrooms, we're not losing the ability to do shop class and welding and all that stuff.
The space,
Just-
if our offices are in the front, emergencies, getting from one part of the building, it's difficult.
Yeah, so now
And
you're
emergency time
you're
is-
reimagining your front entrance, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, it's what we talked about, if we put it on the practice field, do we, is this the new front entrance? There's,
Right, so where the courtyard is, if you get rid of the fine arts building, I mean, you could put the front offices essentially where the courtyard is. And from there, you can connect to the other hallways and to the library. I mean, I know this is what we did in the first 3 planning
So-
sessions on
So you're
jumping
saying
back.
repurposing the front of it?
So your
Am I hearing you
library
right?
is now a solo building, though.
Correct.
That's somehow, I don't know how that would work.
I mean, and Josh
it's
is
just
deep into
sitting
this, but if we were,
know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
where I could see where the library is, yeah.
It's just
so-
solo.
we've not done anything for
Plan
safety and
5
security.
would include a building right around the library. So if we were to build just in here around the library, this could be front office spaces. This is the entrance to the whole structure, from the library to the halls. Like, you see what I'm saying there? If this space becomes the front office, I mean, we can build next to the library. Plan 5 has this building next to the existing library. I mean, once again, it kind of reshapes where the campus is, but everything fits a lot better. Once again, I'm asking a hypothetical. Does this even make sense or not?
I think,
Is that,
from my perspective, when you replace so much of that agri shop, that's a little bit lower cost per square foot to build that space, because they're usually a bigger space. But you're basically going back and building 50,000 more square foot.
Yeah.
Now, long-term, it's probably the right thing, because you're saying that what you
That-
currently have is kind of at the end of your life cycle anyway.
that's the argument you make to the voters is, and the constituents is, hey, this is the best plan for long-term, this is the most economical plan for long-term. Hey, we can shoehorn it into here, but we know we're gonna have to come along and replace this at some point, so hey, if we do it together now, like, that's an argument that can be made.
So the back of the agri building was a new build.
the back of the Agri building is a problem right now in
Yes,
terms
I'm
of
just-
how
I'm
open
just
it is.
The
It's-
date, the
Oh,
years later,
yes,
because
ma'am.
that's been an issue with the library as well. So the back
Oh,
of
that's
that
right.
was
All
an
of those
addition.
welding, all
All
of
of
that
that,
stuff
those
is on.
classrooms in the back.
Yep.
Those of you that went to high school there, those classrooms in the front was your business classrooms and your
Your accounting,
home ec,
yeah.
accounting, now it's computer, of course. Everything behind those is, we'd have to look at the year. I think it was after Hackler. No, I mean, I'm sorry, before Hackler, but I don't know which millage it was on. Do you know? Same time as the library.
I think some of it, that's been scabbed onto a couple different times. You
So
know,
I
the
don't
new
know
welding
for sure
booths,
on
but
those
then the
classrooms
paint
though,
booth
but
was
they're
prior to
pretty new.
that.
And I don't think it was with the cab hall and the,
No, that
They
was separate.
They redid some of those CTE classrooms, didn't they? They built the cab and the.
Mhm.
some of those are new. I gotta be careful on dates.
But
'cause I
that-
don't have those.
I don't know what that does for entrances and exits on our building.
The one dilemma I do see, even if you do this, is you're spacing out from your gymnasium, which I think a large, vast majority of your students are using at some capacity, whether it's
Sure.
wrestling, volleyball, basketball,
Well, they all have to
football,
take PE.
PE.
Yep.
You know, so there is some pros and cons about
There's a
that.
good comment about that, and what our theme is forward thinking. We need gym space, so why are we getting rid of an old gym and putting a new one in? Can we not keep the old gym? I mean, we're the only school in 5A, 6A that's got basketball going on and wrestling in the same building. And our kids have to go to other schools to practice. We are short on facilities. We are short on the needs for those kids to participate in that kind of stuff. I mean, if you have gone to other schools, and I'm not saying keep up with the Joneses, we are down here with our facilities. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
It's
that,
in the bottom 5 percentile, probably.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
it
Well,
is.
our
mean,
ball
it's
squad
that-
doesn't even, they don't even get to be on campus.
But I mean,
You
that,
got dance, you got cheer. Look what our ROTC program's doing.
Well,
And
look
look
at
at
our
the-
aviation program
Yeah.
down at the junior high.
And look at the
it's
locker
sitting
rooms
right
some of
here.
them are using, you know, they don't even have locker room space.
now we're
That
right
was
back
my
at the
thing
first
about
millage.
it to begin with. To have
Right there.
all of our
That's been a
activities on
negative to
campus
talk about,
is
but
a
it's something
safety
that we're gonna
issue.
need Thinking forward.
Yeah.
Why get
You
rid
gotta
of
have
the gym when
eyeballs
you
on
need it?
kids.
Well, the auxiliary gym, as you know, now is gonna be Big Top.
It is.
You can't save it. Big Top comes in, it's gone.
I mean, and then that's where most of that water is also coming in those old locker rooms and stuff.
So,
But that brings to good point. Maybe that's 2 practice areas at some point.
Sometimes you
would-
can do the gyms, if you've seen them, if they have 2 full basketball courts, there's just no.
Exactly.
Right.
Open
We've got
space with 2 courts in it.
Yeah, they're just,
Got
you
the
put a little
little
partition, you just
And you
turn
get-
them with a partition.
You put a little
it's 2
divide
full
in there
courts.
and,
And it's just it's just a big box.
yeah.
so scheme 5, where we pushed it forward, is there any way on that to save the library?
Scheme 5 has the
It
library.
Yeah.
saves the library.
Yeah.
It does
It
save
just
the
turns
library.
it into a different space, if I remember correctly.
So why does it have to turn into a different space?
We're
Cafeteria's gotta go
still,
somewhere.
we still come back
Can
to
we-
the
Can we
cafeteria.
bop the cafeteria farther back on the road, as one of the plans is doing that anyway?
So move that one up back a little
Move-
bit.
Move the
completely.
library,
the
move the
whole plan.
cafeteria off and just keep the library as the library. And just pop the cafeteria backwards, because one of the plans we're talking about the most is taking away that road.
What if you had a
And
breezeway
rerouting
to the
the road anyway.
cafeteria?
Well, that's
I mean,
what
it's
you
not
can connect.
connected.
And then
It's
connect
not-
them.
I mean, it would be like a breezeway, right? And you
It
wouldn't
should
even
be,
have to worry
it
about
should be enclosed for security, there shouldn't be open air there. You know, one of the issues with the current Agri building is that
connected
it's so open, there still has that big security issue to the south.
So connect it all somehow.
It's just got a breezeway, an enclosed walkway through there, I mean, it's.
Is the library what's in green?
It- yeah,
The
it's
brighter green.
currently a kitchen.
That's
but-
currently your library here.
But just leave it the library.
Yep.
And then we wouldn't need a new library.
When you
In
do
the new
this,
build.
yeah, you kind of put in your cafeteria here now, and this can come in, this facade, or this can come in because I don't need as much square footage, because I'm not, I can slide all this square footage further west and kind of get the hybrid version. You just have to work around that existing structure. You know, part of this would be kitchen here and then cafeteria over there, you know,
But it could be really close.
Really close.
yeah, I mean, within reason. I think there's some challenges around that from construction.
That's great.
That's the biggest challenge.
ADA.
The what?
ADA.
You've got 13 to 15 foot of grade change, so
Slopes
that's
up
kind of our
into that
biggest
hill.
challenge when you do that. Your cafeteria tends to want to be a higher volume of space, so.
So you mean there's a
Even
cafeteria
at
from the second
Grants,
story?
And then if the public used
Yeah.
it, you would need an entrance that was ADA on
You'd
this
have-
level up where the road is.
Yeah.
That works for deliveries. It's just if he can do it around the library, and I guess that's, 'cause it works.
So it feels like we're in the same place that we started. But I think it comes down to, at the end of the day, I think, Mr. Booth, you've raised some really good points about we know the square footage dilemma. What's gonna help the overall, the voters to understand that we're trying to do the best we can with the money that we have. It could come down to, do we keep the library or not? And is that enough of a change? I think we have gravitated around option 4 or 5 being very close. Like, it might be the thing that makes the most sense. It just comes down to, are we willing to let go of the library in its current configuration, repurpose it or not? I think I can work enough with some of this. For me, if the cafeteria goes back and becomes its own thing, that's easier, and I can manipulate some of this. 4 works best in so many regards. It has the most pros. The downside of 4 is, you know.
You lose the library.
Correct. So I just don't, we can work out an arrangement, I can work out a plan, we can submit to the state, but they're gonna be asking the similar questions. When we review it, they're gonna say, so what are you gonna do with this repurposed space? How are you repurposing it? Where's the additional square footage is coming from? And that's why knowing where your kind of heartbeat is around that is important for me, because I'll have to go and justify, like, we're keeping this or we're not keeping that.
And I'm saying don't repurpose it if we can keep it, leave it the library,
If you can keep it.
if you can keep it.
How much is still owed on the library?
Well, that bond issue still has a good amount left, even 15 years, and it goes with Hackler.
It was built at the
A
same
lot.
time as Hackler.
About 30 million.
For Hackler and the library,
That bond issue.
what's the millage on that?
You asked me, I'll have to, we're at 3216, 6.87.
Seven, I think 6.87.
We're close, it's not exact.
It's very close, almost 7.
Almost 7. Is that right? Yeah, it's close.
And what was the millage we asked for last time?
2.2. A mill was worth about almost $800,000. It'd be worth a little more now.
Problem
Just 'cause
is,
your
and
property
I
values are
I
up.
think Mr. Booth brought this up all ago, no matter what we come up with now, it's gonna cost as much now to build this as it would've been.
Built
that.
And one thing we can do, when y'all are ready for this discussion, after we decide on the library, you can decide this is how much money we've got. This is how much we can spend, and we go from there. So if you say it's 50, and we find 50. If it's 35, we find 35. And then you can get real specific with your plan after that. Even more specific.
So we pretty well narrowed it down between 4 and 5.
I think so.
I
feels like it to me.
That's why we were. I mean,
That's one's gonna be
have
more
we?
when you build a new school back there in the back.
Where we were.
If there's,
You look like you're holding back.
This is a discussion, so, I mean, it's not an action item, but we do need to,
What I would say is,
Seemed like you're saying this
per our intended plans, last time we talked, we're gonna meet with Ms. Jones.
Yes.
And we're gonna vet out that POR. And so I kinda know enough where you're at right now to use that to our advantage, make sure we're dialed in on the quantities of classrooms and square footages. I feel like we're really close. But I think I can study that site. I think we'll start to look at the grade change and give you a strong, like, hey, this just doesn't work to put the cafeteria over here, or it does work and this is why. And I think if Will and I can spend a little bit of time, we'll try to figure out ideas on cost, rough estimates. It's extremely hard to give you a quantifiable, here's exactly what it costs. But I think if we sit and study the square footage, at least we can give you a number that you can say, I think it's within $1 million or $3 million to do this. And then you can say, hey, you know, do we want to spend $3 million, or it's better not to, and forego that. So I think we can keep vetting that out a little bit, but with that POR, we'll dial in a little bit more. You know, you'll have a plan layout that has door swings and more detail to it.
With the grade change, could it be dug out and made?
No. That's why it's flooding now, is because we had to dig that thing out to build that school where it is now.
Then you gotta add retention walls and, oh my
It-
gosh.
Well, I was
To your
thinking
point,
like
it
part of
technically
it, part
could,
of it
it's just not the best
underground
option.
and it be used like a shelter.
They dug
If
that
it's
hole
underground
that they
basement
built the
type.
school in,
Um,
because they didn't have enough
That's a good idea.
to get down to a solid foundation.
Yeah.
And that's why that whole school was built down in that hole.
Well,
And
I'm,
it's
I'm
flooded.
saying take
But she's saying the cafeteria would be like a storm, like it would be.
partially underground or like a basement space and dig that out and pour.
Based on ICC 500, which is part of the current 2019 IBC, we have to have safe area of refuge. And so on this, and I don't remember exactly our student population, 700 students? Are we-
Well, it depends on how many we're gonna put down there.
Yeah, so.
But no, we're at 900 like
Okay,
today.
so 905 square
Plus
foot per
300.
person. We're gonna have easily 5,000 square foot of this new building that is safe area of refuge. So we have to account for that.
Could the cafeteria be all of that or no?
Well, so there's a dilemma there, because most of those spaces don't have windows.
Okay.
And they're not the most pleasurable spaces.
Gotcha.
That's why they typically are PE spaces or archery or practice courts, because you don't have a lot of windows.
I've seen several of these practice gyms, I guess is what they call them.
Right.
They turn them into their volleyball gyms.
Yes.
And they are technically their safe rooms.
That's right.
That's what I
Yeah.
think Greenbrier is the last one I saw, and it's a separate building.
So I
I'm
probably
sure the
would
community
advise your
can use it too.
cafeteria to be that, because that tends to be the space you want to be well lit up and engaging for students. So, but, you know.
Well, I didn't know if it would be all of it, but just the portion that if we dug it out and made part of it basement to change the to
Make it all
deal with the
one level,
ADA, regulations and making it level, because we were pushing out that way anyway. Another plan, just the portion that could be underground could be.
So then if you go to add on down the road, you gonna dig out the rest of the school?
True.
Or you're coming in at a higher level.
I'm
your
trying to
point.
save the
You'd be coming
library,
in
but I
at that
keep
same.
hearing about
It's trying to save the library. I need my buttons.
Because for me, if we save the library space, then we wouldn't add a new library.
mean,
Like, you're right.
we'll
So-
take the books and the people out of
Does
it
that-
first. We won't just like push it to the ground. We'll take the
But
good stuff
I'm
out.
just- I mean, does that save any money on the new space? So,
What these guys are doing.
Um,
probably not enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think getting that
Okay.
underground, 15 foot of excavation comes at a lot of cost. That would be that full footprint, because that whole area is the higher. So there's definitely some challenges to carve down into it.
So we've got 4 and 5.
Yep.
4, you would push back again to where the bomber remains. If you did 4, put the cafeteria on the back, library remains. 5 has the front basically where it is now, library would go, and you would go towards the back. So you will bring back some ideas.
Yeah.
You'll talk to Will, bring back, hey, it's going to cost $3 million to keep the library, do you wanna keep the library? Or, hey, we found a great way to use the library.
Great.
And so you'll bring back to this group and y'all can make the decision, cause we're gonna have to get rolling pretty fast.
After June,
Now
it
we're-
starts, our time schedule starts to
Yeah,
ramp a
we're
little bit,
ramping
because we've
up.
gotta get it laid out and
Get something
submitted.
turned
We
in.
go to the division, we review it with them, we have a pre-app, meeting, and then we have to have it applied by November. So, I think, to your point, we're still in a good spot. I think we're narrowing down that we've kind of properly vetted out some of these options. I think we're just now getting to a point where we need to kind of put some numbers with it, test that, give a little bit more detail to some cost that help shine some light on it.
Maybe that would help make the decision, cause I don't think you could take down the library without a number, in my opinion. It'd be very hard
It'd be, yeah.
to
You know,
defend if
we're
you didn't
saving
have a number.
$3, $4, $5 million for taking the library
It's
down,
different.
we gotta go.
Yeah, that makes the most sense, right? Where you're doing right by their taxpayer dollars.
Right.
That makes sense.
But if it's $1 million, that may not be enough to justify it.
Would y'all feel better with the numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least
A
some.
guesstimation.
They're guesses, they're
Yeah.
estimates,
Yeah.
they're not, but at least they can tell us. Is that a good plan?
Everybody feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, you,
Yep, I do.
How long
Bill, what do you think?
what's your time?
I think you definitely need to run the numbers on it and know what you're talking about. On the library versus, I mean, it's gonna be rough numbers to run with it, but I
it's
think.
gonna be rough on both sides though. So.
Yeah.
I'm looking at dates.
Oh, for the next meeting?
Cause y'all are gonna need to visit with him, and we've got to do it before, we need to do it in June. Okay,
So as I said last planning meeting, I'm willing, I don't know about the rest of it, to meet on more frequently than once a month if need be. Like this is pretty important, so.
it's gonna take y'all a couple weeks.
It will take us about, a couple weeks, but I would say that third week of June would be where I'd try to target.
That's a regular monthly meeting,
And then
regular
they're not-
scheduled
and
program.
then our new board members are in Hot Springs on Tuesday, that Wednesday, and then Thursday. Thursday's your board meeting, and it is packed. Like, I would hate to put a work session with it, I will. But it appears as if we already have a presentation. It may take a little bit, and it might not, but I need y'all fresh.
So what are you asking us?
Y'all wanna, what day you wanna do?
Got lost
Sorry.
in this.
That's a typical me. Okay, so 16 and 17, our new board members are at training.
Okay.
And it's in Hot Springs. That would be pretty tricky to get back.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday is a possibility on the 18th. And then Thursday's your regular board meeting. I'm not super comfortable having your work session with your board meeting. It's a lot. We can.
So you're thinking Wednesday would be our best day?
Nobody's doing it via Zoom, right? The new board member
I'm
training?
doing it Zoom.
So you're in town.
Yeah.
But the other two are out of town.
I was gonna say, if the board is all going to the training, I'm happy to follow or go wherever.
Just
Switch to Zoom if we
Just
needed,
two.
right?
I think Tommy did have meetings. That's one of the reasons he was actually going. Wednesday, tech is out. They're on I guess got a text. But we'll try to do it live stream, but we don't have anybody.
I could switch to Zoom
And I can be
instead of
back.
going to Hot Springs.
Make for a long day,
Boss lady
Tuesday.
says I can.
Up to y'all. We can't, she can, yeah, she's got it, to where y'all can do either one. I know Tommy's planning on staying. He had some more stuff on Wednesday.
But that would get at least me back. Not that I'm
It
that
would.
much help.
So we can do Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, or the week before, but I don't know.
I think I could potentially, You're saying the 18th or the 12th?
12th, what about the 12th?
I think I'm okay making the 12th work, if I can
12th would be great.
get enough time.
12th, what do y'all think?
I can do the 12th.
12th?
Yeah, because
I can do
that
the
next
12th.
week is Father's Day, my anniversary, Madison's birthday.
That means you're busy.
Hey, I had my anniversary with you people.
12th?
Happy anniversary.
You know better than me.
All right, June 12th.
June 12th.
June 12th, he'll have some, at least some ideas of some possible numbers. Let's do 5:30, if that works for everybody.
I'm camping.
In the boardroom?
Yeah, in the boardroom, I guess.
Okay.
No, we're down at Bull Shows.
So 6/12 at 5:30, and hopefully you'll have the numbers you need to be able to make a decision, so. To keep the library or not. Maybe ask some
I've
folks.
put a
You see
poll
'em.
up on Facebook,
Okay.
if anyone would like to share that with their constituents to answer the question, you have 2 days to answer it.
Okay.
So the question was, do you support the removal or repurposing of Mountain Home High School's library if it saves taxpayers money in a new millage election to tear down the big top? Yes, tear it down, repurpose it. No, don't touch it at all. Those are your options. We'll see what the public says.
All right.
Is that all we got? Oh, Tommy?
Yes, sir. First, I'd like to thank everybody who volunteers to do this job. But I want to say this, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but Chris Knight is my son, okay? I will recuse myself anytime it comes up for promotion or increase in salary. I will not vote on that. I will just leave the room, let you guys figure it out. But for all other things, I will vote for it. I will be voting yea or nay. That's the people who signed my petition, and I know we didn't have a big turnout, but for voters, but that's what they want me to do. And, you know, but, when it comes to, I counted up, I've got 8 other members of my family working in this school district. So I can't recruit myself for everything. Otherwise, I might as well not be on the board. But Neil Pendergrass's wife worked here. Your husband's the attorney for the school?
One of them.
So, you know.
It's a quiet one.
The quiet one? But there's always going to be some type of, and my family's raised here. And I've got cousins that I don't know about. It's in Arkansas. You know, but it's impossible to do it for everybody. But Chris is my immediate family, and I will recuse myself for that, but for no other reason. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tommy.
Yeah. Yeah, I checked with Candace, to make sure.
Is that all you need from us, Josh?
I think so. Yeah.
Will?
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Absolutely.
Okay, move to adjourn.
So you,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we're done. All right.
Thank you all.